All right, everybody, welcome. Come in. This is my second time talking to you guys today. It's your girl again, Vanity V. Welcome to my channel. Let's go ahead and like and subscribe before we get started. We're going to go ahead and jump right into the Real Housewives of Atlanta, last night's episode. What do you guys think? How'd you guys like it? I enjoyed the episode primarily because I am super invested in, what's going on with Kandi and Marlo. So I'm going to kind of I didn't really take any notes because I want to have a strong emphasis on the relationship between Kandi and Marlo, because I think that was the focal point of this episode. I'm sure you guys will all agree. So I'm going to just kind of go through some of the little cute moments that I thought happened in last night's episode before I get to the nitty gritty and the really, really robust and important part of what happened last night, right? All right, so before we even touch and get into Kandi and Marlo, I would like to talk about Sheree. Her little granddaughter, Mecca, is so cute. I love to see her in her element. She seems like an amazing grandma. She seems like she's loving it. She seems like she's having the time of her life. I've always enjoyed watching Sheree and her children. Her son is so cute and has grown into such a attractive and wonderful young man. She got her youngest daughter, who I think graduated recently from Howard University, or is on the teetering upon graduating from Howard University. She's turned into a beautiful young woman. And so it's really nice to see Sheree in that element as grandma, right? Because she has done such a great job. She has amazing kids. I think her oldest daughter, who's in her 30s, who she's really close with, has a really successful podcast, and she's doing great things too. So it's nice to see her outside of the element of her being a bone collector and being messy. It's great to see Sheree in the element of grandma, and how we love to also see her as a great mom with her kids. So we see her in a scene with her new granddaughter, Mecca, who I want to say they said is 4 months old. But her son is so cute. We get to meet his girlfriend, Elena, I think is her name. And, Sheree is just kind of talking about how her son is doing such a great job as a father, how she's so proud of him. She's raised him to be such a really good gentleman and an even better father. And so you can see how he's interacting with his daughter. He loves her. She's beautiful. They're making the little hand imprints so that they can keep that as a keepsake as the little baby Mecca gets older. And so it was just nice to see that scene. So that's one part, right? Before we get into all the mess. We also see Drew, which I have to ask y'all a question. There was a scene where we see Drew and her soon-to-be ex-husband Ralph. He's playing basketball with his kids outside. Did y'all notice when she was talking to him about, Drew was talking to Ralph about the surgeries he's had, and she kind of poked fun and said, every time I get a surgery, you get a surgery. And she's like, yeah, you got your eyes done and your teeth done and this done, and then you got this done down here. What was she talking about? Did he get a whole penile implant? I'm gonna need you to go ahead and clarify, because my takeaway, she said surgery down there. Because a vasectomy is not surgery. So what kind of surgery did Ralph get? Saints, I'm going to need y'all to go ahead and find this out and get down in the comments and let us all know, what is the surgery that Drew is referring to? Because vasectomy is not, I don't think that is a surgical procedure. I think that's outpatient snip, snip. I don't even think you have surgery on that. So what surgery was she talking about Ralph got? Look, Drew, you have a whole divorce going on. I'm going to need you to go ahead and spill it. You don't even like Ralph no more. So go ahead and tell us, what is the surgery you talking about? Because I'm not the only one that wants to know. And if y'all have any type of inside information, please get down in the comments. Let us know, what is the surgery that Ralph got? Because she said it. We didn't. I heard it. I heard it. I got 2 good ears. And I definitely heard her say Ralph had surgery. So I don't know if y'all peeped that, but let me know you guys' thoughts on that. So we talked about Sheree as a new grandma. We got Drew and Ralph allegedly having penile surgery. Then we get to see Kenya, and so good for Kenya. Kenya is opening up, I think, Kenya Moore Hair Care Spa. So I wasn't really fully invested in this scene, but I'm assuming that it's going to be like a hair salon or whatever, maybe where you can buy the products, use the products. They'll probably use all of her products while the people is doing the hair. Good for you, Kenya. Kenya is constantly evolving. She's constantly growing her businesses. I love to see it. So that was nice to see. We got to also see her friend Akila, who is beautiful. I'm enjoying her, and hopefully as the season goes on, we'll get to know more about Akila. So we saw Kenya, interacting with Akila. She's talking about her business. She's also talking about this man that she supposedly is dating that she met through Mayetta. And so she's kind of saying like, oh, I like him, but he travels a lot and she doesn't want to be in another situation like she was with Mark, where it was long distance. So, she's kind of talking about her reservations with that and, giving us some insight. Kenya, we want to see more of this relationship. If you're dating this dude, when he comes into town, I'm going to need you guys to go ahead and go to the little dinner places, go to Mastro's, y'all get y'all some steak, get y'all some drinks. We want to see you interacting with this mystery man that you met through Mayetta. We don't want to hear you just talking to Akila about it all the time. We want to see you date, because we never really got to see that with you and Mark, because like Mark never saw for you and he was never in town. So Kenya, if you're dating this guy, that's great. I'm happy for you, but can you please give us an inside scoop on y'all's, dating? We want to see you. I like to see Kenya. I feel like when she likes someone, she lets her guard down. We see like a softer side of Kenya. So Kenya, we definitely want to see that. So yes, it was nice. Kenya was catching up with her friends. She was letting us know that she has this new business venture with the spa, where they're going to be selling all the Kenya Moore hair care products. They're going to be doing blowouts and silk presses and all of the things. So that's great. So I'm happy for Kenya. Kudos to that. Is it me? Sonya. Does Sonya get like extra Jamaican when she get with her mama? I mean, I'm not saying she's like a fake ass Jamaican. Like, I definitely believe she's Jamaican. But like the accent is so strong when she gets with her mom. And I'm just like, girl, how you sound like a whole American when you be with the girls at Top Golf and the little, the little brunches and dinners. But then when you get around your mom, you sound like a whole Buju Banton. You sound very, very Caribbean with your mom. And it's very confusing to me. So y'all let me know if y'all have noticed that. So anyway, we see the scene with her mom. Her mom is beautiful. I always like to see her in scenes with her family. I actually prefer to see Sonya in scenes with her family versus the girls, because I don't really like how she acts around this group. I like to see her in the different problems she's having with kind of being overbearing with her sister. Her sister done quit on her. Her sister's husband done quit on her. All the people's quitting. And then, we see the turmoil that's happening. Sonya's husband, he want them out the house, child. So I like to see all of that. So we see her kind of conversing with her sister. And her sister's like, look, I'm leaving regardless. I don't blame her sister. You can't tell me basically that your husband doesn't want me there. And then, the next week you're like, well, we might need to revisit the timeline. No, I'm uncomfortable now. You have definitely told me that he wants me out the house. I'm not staying, I'm getting out of here. So that's, I gather that Sonya is difficult. That is what I'm getting from her family. I'm getting that from the confessionals, like when her mom and her sister do the confessionals together. It seems like she's difficult. It's giving like, I want you to do all these things for me, and I'm compensating you by you living with me rent-free. So I don't know if that's an even exchange. Like, I'm being your personal assistant and the nanny and the cook and the, running and doing your errands, making travel reservations, all of this stuff. And all I get is like a room and board. I don't know. To me, it doesn't seem like an even trade. Sonya is giving a little bit of cheapness, Sonya. I'm just saying. But I want to see more of that. So, I'm liking to see like the conflict between her sister, and I'm hoping that they can work through it, but it probably will be better for your mom and your dad to get it. Especially at this point, you have voiced and been very vocal about how your husband feels. In my opinion, it seems like your husband is the one that wants them out, and you are the one that's like reaping most of the benefits, because you said in this episode that you get to travel and do all of the things and that you kind of have it made. But on the next token, you have made them now uncomfortable because you told them pretty much your husband wants them out. So you kind of shot yourself in the foot, Sanya. But Sanya, I'm gonna need you to have the same accent, like regardless of who you're around. Like that would be like me, like I'm trying to see what the equivalent of that would be in my life. But like I can't have a British accent, you know, when I get around my friends from Great Britain, and then, you know, sound like this when I'm around my other friends. Like it's confusing. Sanya, I need you to, you know, make a choice and stick with it with the accent, because it's confusing all of us, because you're very, very Jamaican around your family. I'm just saying. Anyway, so moving along. So we have Drew. We talked about Drew. We talked about Sheree. We talked about Sanya. We talked about, what am I missing, y'all? We talked about Kenya, right? Okay, so let's get to the things, the meat and the potatoes of the episode. I would like to point out, I love how I've noticed Bravo with all of the shows. They are now, is it called foreshadowing? I don't know. I'm probably saying that wrong. But I'm loving how like they are really showing us, in order to like give us evidence of the things that are happening, right? They are always going back and they're showing us all of the things that happened in previous seasons. So what they did in this episode, as soon as it started, they went all the way back to 2011 in an effort to show us like the progression of the relationship between Marlo and Kandi. So we kind of saw them, you know, in different instances from like 2011, 2016, 2019, where like Kandi has questioned Marlo about where she gets her money. We saw that episode when they were at the dinner, I think in Jamaica when Phaedra was still on the show, where Marlo asked Kandi like if she liked women. What else did we see? We saw, and then we also saw Kandi in scenes where she was sticking up for Marlo, saying, well, Marlo's actually a nice person, and I don't want to hold her past against her, which is interesting because throughout the ending of the episode, Marlo's playing the victim. And I'm going a little far ahead right now, but I'm saying this to say, Kandi was kind of sticking up, has stuck up for Marlo a lot throughout the years, but Marlo is constantly talking about how Candy's bringing up her past. So I say all of that to say they are showing us and giving us like a blast from the past on like the evolving of Candy's relationship with Marlo. So then we get to 2019, 2020, where we are now at the point where Marlo's, unfortunately, her nephew, he was deleted by someone that she says, and we find out it's not true, but she says he met through Candy's restaurant. We find out that that's not the truth. And the interesting part about this episode is, remember a couple episodes ago, Marlo has been really driving it home, or trying to drive it home, that Kandi didn't recognize her nephew's death, didn't talk about it. But then we see a scene today where Marlo comes to the house, like right around the time where Riley was going to college. Marlo comes to the house and has a whole scene with Kandi talking about her nephew's passing away. So Marlo, how is it that you're saying that Kandi would never acknowledge your nephew's deletion? She barely spoke to you about it, is what you have said in these past episodes. But then Marlo, see, that's the thing. You have to be honest, because Marlo Bravo will with the quickness show you an episode. They done went back years at this point, and they're showing scenes where you had a whole scene with Kandi talking about this very subject, where your nephew was murdered. But you told us that Kandi barely acknowledged it. And we all know that when you guys have scenes, we all know this, if you are an avid reality TV watcher and connoisseur like me, we know that when you go to these scenes, you know the subject matter. So when you went to Candy's house, you knew you were going to have a conversation about her nephew back in 2020. So Marlo, why are you now trying to set the stage for a narrative that Kandi never cared about your nephew? Like, why are you doing this? And this is why, I posted a video. Please go to my page where I posted a video about 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago, where I was talking about the fact that Marlo is jealous of Kandi. Because what is the explanation for this? You were trying to ruin this woman and all of her businesses for what? It's like you need a storyline. And this is why, honestly, I want Marlo off the show, because it's like you're creating this narrative that Kandi is dangerous, that she's not a good person, that her businesses are dangerous, that if you go to her restaurant, you'll get shot. Why are you doing this? Kandi is like the only person that's on this entire franchise who has supported you and tried to get you your own show. Why? And this is how you repay her? And I love Portia, but I feel like Portia kind of did the same thing to Kandi years back. I feel like Kandi gets shitted on a lot by people who she helps. And if I was Kandi, I wouldn't even want to help y'all heifers no more, because it's like I try to extend my hand to help you, and it's like you kick me in the face for it. And it's like, for what, Marlo? And again, the only explanation I can think of is that you're jealous of her. There's no other reasoning behind this. Kandi's winning. She's an entrepreneur. She's a role model. She's a successful businesswoman, artist, songwriter. The list goes on and on and on. And you aspire to have that. You're so concerned with labels and being the best dressed and having this and Cartier this and Fendi this and all of these things, instead of, again, getting with Kandi so Kandi could put you on game to elevate your business. But you're trying to take her down, and it's like, why are you doing this? You could be focusing more of your storyline on raising your nephews. That, to me, is far more interesting than this that you are trying to create out of like thin air, out of nothing. So it was nice. I'm so glad that Bravo kind of went back into the time machine and showed us that footage, because we never saw that scene. It was never before, seen footage where Marlo was sitting down with Kandi and talking about the nephew. And then, this is the kicker. Kandi told us that 5 days after your nephew died, you hit her up talking about, was it Patreon? Talking about, girl, get on Patreon or whatever it is, to make outside money. You need to get up on this. This is like lunch money or whatever. You did that. I could be wrong about the Patreon. Don't quote me, but it's something like Patreon where you can make money outside of like your other endeavors. You hit her up to talk about that 5 days after your nephew died. If you were that concerned and that deep into mourning, why are you talking to her about like making some money outside of the show if you're so concerned about your nephew? And Kandi showed it. She was like, she wasn't that concerned about her nephew. She hit me up 5 days later like her nephew didn't even die, asking me, trying to put me on to whatever it was. And so that's what I'm saying. It's like you are like pulling and reaching at straws here, Marlo, and it just doesn't make sense, and it's disgusting. So again, Drew and Kenya, because those are Kandi's girls, they reach out and they have a conversation with Kandi, and they tell Kandi, like, look, Marlo's going around telling people pretty much that her nephew that died, not only did you not do anything when he died, you didn't send the family flowers. Not only that, you didn't want to talk to her about it, which we know that's not true, because we saw that they had a whole conversation about it on camera. Okay, so those two things, in addition to the fact she's telling people that her nephew that died met his killer at your restaurant. So of course, when Kenya tells Kandi that, she's furious. And so we all know that they have this event that Courtney is throwing at this bomb. I don't know what the place is, but there's some place where you can eat and then you can like go into like a escape room or something like that. Courtney's throwing an event there, and Kandi comes into the event furious. They're all sitting down, and I feel her. She's like, everyone's like, oh, I'm great. How you guys do? You know how small talk when you get together with a group, you're catching up. And then Candy's like, look, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I can't sit here and act like I'm cool and I'm not mad when I'm fuming. Marlo, let's go have a conversation. Or Marlo, let's talk. And so Marlo's like, okay, cool. And she's like, well, let's go to the side. I want the peanut gallery to hear. And for whatever reason, she called Drew over there, which I guess because she assumed that the information traveled from Drew to Kenya to Kandi. So I'm assuming that's why she told Drew to come. So anyway, they go to the side. It immediately turns hostile. Kandi's like, well, why are you going around saying this? And why are you doing this? And why are you saying this about your nephew when A, B, and C, I was there for you. I spoke to you about it. We talked about this, at length. In addition to, why are you telling people that your nephew met the person who deleted him at my restaurant? Like, basically, why are you telling people that? So, Marlo's running down A, B, and C. This is why I said it, and this was my reasoning for this. And so Kandi's like, that's BS. Like, get out of here. And so, the conversation gets heated. And then Marlo's like, well, can you let me talk? I'll let you talk. Please let me talk. Let me get my feelings out. And so she's explaining to Kandi why she was so upset about it. And Kandi's like, well, why you ain't talked to me about this 2 years ago? Like, why is this coming up now? Like, if you're so upset about it, it bothered you so much, why are you coming up? Why are you doing this now? And we know the reasoning. The reason is because Marlo wants to bring this to the forefront, not only to ruin Kandi and try to ruin her reputation and her businesses, but because she needs a storyline. Like, her whole storyline is this, so far this season, her conflict with Kenya and Kandi. So Kandi's like, well, why didn't you talk to me about this 2 years ago? Marlo had some bogus excuse. And of course, Kandi, because I'm very similar, she's getting, when someone's standing in your face and they're spitting BS, she's getting more and more upset. She's pointing, and then Kenya, of course, the girls are on over to the side, kind of like watching what's happening. And when they see Kandi, like, she's like, bitch, and this and this, Kenya, jumps up and comes over there and kind of grabs Kandi. The part that tickled me, because I'm like this, Kandi was like, Kenya, don't touch me. If this is about to go down, and I'm like this, if the go down's about to go down, don't grab me. Like, don't do that, because then I'm going to want to steal on you. Like, don't grab me, okay? Like, you're my friend. If she get to swinging on me and you're grabbing me, like, don't grab me. Let whatever is about to happen, but do not grab me. And so, they're talking, and then, how Kandi is, she gets really emotional and cries. And then Marlo's like, yeah, you cry, baby. And so Kandi's like, no, I'm crying because I'm trying, whatever. And so I just wanted to point this out too, before I kind of close this out. Kandi, I hope you noticed that in the midst of all of this, when all of this went down, when you got into it with Kandi and the girls all jumped in and separated you, guys, I hope you noticed who was over there with Marlo and who was over there with you. Kandi, Sanya's not your friend. I'm sorry. Sanya is not your friend. She is always sticking up and enabling Marlo. She's been doing this since the last season. Marlo showed her whole ass all last season acting a fool. And every single time she has done that, Sanya has enabled her no matter what the situation. No matter how wrong she's been. And I'm not saying, look, if Sanya's her friend, I'm not saying that Sanya has to flip out on Marlo in front of everybody. But I have not once have I seen Sanya like really pull Marlo to the side and be like, you're bugging, you're acting up. This is not okay. XYZ. Sanya doesn't do that. And when everything happened, Kandi, Drew, of course, Kenya's your girl, Mayetta, and those were the three that were with you. And you don't really fool with Sheree. You already know where Sheree's loyalty lies. But it was Sheree, Sanya, and Courtney that stayed with Marlo. So I think, Kandi, you were trying to give Sanya a chance, but Sanya don't see it for you. So please move accordingly, Kandi, because she don't like you, and that she enables Marlo. Marlo's her girl. And for whatever reason, I don't understand, because it's like, I want to like Sanya so much, but like, I'll be honest, the fact that she enables Marlo's terrible behavior, it prohibits me from really liking Sanya the way I want to, not to mention Sanya has a fake Jamaican accent when she be with her family. Anyway, I don't want to digress too much, but yeah, so, the episode went off from there, but I just want to just reiterate, and I'm going to continue to do it. Marlo is out of her mind. Oh, I want to say this too. Marlo continues to try to play victim and say, oh my God, the girls, they always bring up the fact that I sliced and diced that girl in her face. No, they really don't. Like, they really don't. Like, honestly, this is like the first season where people really been getting at you about that. That's number one. And number two, Marlo, you've never broken down like what happened with that situation. We just know that you're a criminal. You've never really talked about it. Marlo, we don't know what you do for a living. We don't know who you date. This old billionaire, we never met him. You don't talk about him. We don't know nothing about your charges, girl. We don't know nothing about you, Marlo, for real. Besides the fact that you can dress. And now that you have custody of your nephews, outside of that, we don't know anything about you, to be honest. So you keep saying, Marlo, that like, oh, they keep bringing up, my past. Not for real. Not the way they really should. And then even when they bring it up, like, you have never gone into depth about your past. And because from what I understand, you've been arrested like 10 to 15 times. Like, I don't think I'm exaggerating. We don't know why. I mean, I'm sure a simple Google search, I could figure it out. But like, you haven't broken that down on the show. So, Marlo, I don't think that it's fair for you to continue to say that, and we saw Bravo went back into the time capsule. We saw Kandi speaking highly of you, saying that you were nice and this and this. Kandi hasn't really gotten at you like this until this season when you keep trying to come at her for her businesses. So I would have to disagree with you, Marlo. I don't think that the girls are getting at you the way they really should be, especially with the reckless stuff that you say. And we still don't know how you make your money. It's giving Jen Shah, I'm just saying. I mean, Marlo, I've always been very, very adamant about the fact that I think you make your money in a very illegal way. But that's a whole, we don't even need to go there. But Marlo, I don't know anything about you. I don't know your age. I don't know anything about your love life. We kind of know that, like, your mama don't fool with you. Outside of your nephews, I don't know anything about you. You can dress, you're pretty. But we don't know anything else about you. So stop trying to act like we just know you give us so much, because you don't. So anyway, in closing, Marlo's giving single white female, and that's all I really have to say about that. I mean, if this episode is not evidence that Marlo's out of her mind and she's simply out to get Kandi, I don't know what else to say. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed, there was little pockets of the episode I liked, because I like positivity too. I like to see some of the girls in their element of their other parts of their lives, but I definitely was happy to see just them break down some more of the relationship and the evolving of the relationship or lack thereof between Kandi and Marlo. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Hopefully you guys had a chance to watch the episode. If not, check that out. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you agree. Get down in the comments. Let me know how you feel about Sonya's fake Jamaican accent. If y'all know any information, any tea about Ralph's alleged penile implant, let me know that too. But no, on a serious note, please, you guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. And hopefully you guys are enjoying, again, getting to know me. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you guys soon.